morning, Bucknutters, and welcome into the Morning Five on Monday, August 11th, 2014. I am Dave Biddle. Ohio State held its media day on Sunday, and I have several takeaways. Sophomore running back Ezekiel Elliott told me he will definitely be ready for the opener. Even if he has to play with a cast, he is going to play. He will just carry the ball in his right hand. Elliott had surgery on his left wrist over the weekend after suffering a small fracture during practice on Friday. Elliott told me he went up for a pass and just fell awkwardly on his wrist. But again, there's no doubt in his mind he will be out there as the starter when the Buckeyes take the field against Navy on August 30th. The Buckeyes have good depth at running back with Curtis Samuel, Briante Dunn, and Rod Smith all in the mix for playing time. Yes, even Rod Smith. In fact, Urban Meyer singled out Smith as one of the players who is having a good camp. Smith will help out on special teams and is at least in the running to get some carries. I tend to think the pecking order at running back will still be Elliott, Samuel, and Dunn in that order, but it's good to have a talented veteran like Smith around for depth. Warren Ball will also provide depth when he returns from his foot injury, which was described to me by an Ohio State spokesman as very minor. Urban Meyer told us yesterday that Braxton Miller is, quote, on schedule, and that Meyer, quote, expected this in regard to Miller being extremely limited during camp. Meyer said that Miller could play in a game right now, but they have to, quote, look at the big picture. Meyer is adamant that Miller will be ready for the season opener. They just see no reason to rush Miller at this point and risk a setback. I can see why fans are concerned, though. The season will be here in 19 days, and Miller still isn't throwing full go. You have to think the Buckeyes are going to try and bludgeon Navy with the running game and wait until the Virginia Tech contest in Week 2 to really test Miller's throwing abilities. I'm sure he'll throw the ball a little bit against Navy, but it might not be until the following week when we really see the playbook open up. Moving to the offensive line where there are several question marks, Ed Warinner told me on Sunday that Billy Price is, quote, right at the front of the competition to be the starting left guard. Joel Hale is also having a solid camp at that position, and Antonio Underwood is also in the mix. I tend to think Billy Price will win the job. You should see Ed Warinner light up when he talks about Price. He says he's very talented and is one of the strongest players on the team, if not the strongest player on the team. There's no question Price has a bright future in the program. Warner says that Jacoby Born has a slight edge at center right now, but thinks Chad Lindsey will take off in the next week or two. I think Lindsey will end up winning the job. These guys might rotate to some degree for the first couple of weeks, although you know you don't want to do that at the center position. You just want to have one guy who has the job. But they might rotate to some degree the first couple of weeks. But I do think Chad Lindsey will win the job there. And if he does, I hope Jacoby Born really thinks about redshirting, so he still has 2 years of eligibility remaining beginning in 2015. Warner also told me that Darrell Baldwin definitely has the edge over Chase Ferris for the starting right tackle job. There was some talk it was a tight battle between those two, but Warner said that Baldwin has a lot of breathing room there. Hopefully the 6'6", 307-pound Baldwin can put it all together as a fifth-year senior. The question about Baldwin is whether he's nasty enough to be a good offensive lineman. And my concern there is I don't think nastiness is something that can really be taught. You either have it or you don't. But it's good to hear the staff is pleased with Baldwin thus far. Warner also told me Marcellus Jones and Demetrius Knox are the two most impressive offensive linemen among the 5 true freshmen. I think we all expected Jamarco Jones to be in the top 2 out of the freshmen, but right now it's Jones and Knox who have impressed Warner the most, which surprised me. Knox being in there didn't surprise me, but Marcellus Jones being in there sure did. We had heard the coaching staff was not pleased with Jones in the spring, but to Jones' credit, he lost about 30 pounds since spring and is having a good camp thus far. Switching gears to recruiting, Torrance Gibson reiterated over the weekend to Ryan Bartow from 24/7 Sports that Ohio State is atop his list. The Buckeyes are followed by Auburn and Tennessee in that order. It really looks like a 3-team race, and the Buckeyes are clearly atop right now. Gibson plans on announcing his decision on October 20th. Gibson is ranked as the number 2 athlete prospect in the country, according to the 24/7 Sports composite. Gibson absolutely loved his time at Ohio State's Friday Night Lights last month, and it will be a surprise at this point if he doesn't pick the Buckeyes. It's been a roller coaster recruitment for Gibson, so anything can happen, but it looks like he's going to end up at the school that was his favorite when the process began. And if he does in fact pick the Buckeyes, it'll be interesting to see if Gibson ends up at quarterback or wide receiver down the line. But there's no question he will start out playing quarterback. And it's easy to envision him running Urban Meyer's offense at quarterback. For more on recruiting, Bill Kurelic has his What I Am Hearing column on the site right now for premium subscribers. You won't want to miss what is probably Bill's most popular feature of the week, and that's saying a lot. The Dean of Ohio State football recruiting has updates on Josh Sweat, Tommy Kramer, Lawrence Cager, and what recruits are planning to visit Ohio State for the Virginia Tech game on September 6th. Again, Bill's content is for subscribers only, so if you're not a subscriber, now's a great time to try our 30-day free trial. You get all of our recruiting coverage, our coverage of Ohio State's preseason camp, coverage through the first 2 games of the season, plus everything else that comes along with being a Bucknuts member, such as the daily boarding house. Do yourself a favor and try the 30-day free trial. It also makes for a good gift, so try the 30-day free trial. Thanks to all the listeners out there. Greatly appreciate you tuning in. I hope you have a great day. Take it away, best damn band in the land.